This Torah portion is a powder keg of rebellion, ego, divine smackdowns, and deep theological reflection. It's more than just a cautionary tale, it's a microscope on the human soul, power, leadership, and holiness. The basic plot of Parshat Korach is found in Numbers chapters 16 through 18. The focus settles on Korach, a Levite and cousin of Moshe and Aaron. He gathers some like-minded folks around him and leads a rebellion against Moshe's leadership and Aharon's priesthood. He's joined by 250 tribal leaders and rabble-rousers, including Datan and Aviram, two typical serial troublemakers. What's their beef? The same old line. Why should Moshe and Aaron be the leaders? Why aren't guys like Korach in charge? Aren't all the people holy? For all the congregation are holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Why then do you exalt yourselves above the assembly of the Lord? Numbers 16:3. Translation. We're all special, Moshe. Get off your high horse. Spoiler alert. The earth opens up and swallows Korach and his followers, and fire consumes the 250. Then a plague breaks out. Aaron stops it with incense. Hashem confirms Aaron's status by making his staff bloom overnight. Boom. Don't poke the bear. The real Jewish perspective. First, let's get past Sunday school pat answers and get into the soul of the issue. There are at least 3 themes and takeaways from this parsha. The first is, does Korach's argument sound reasonable? Korach doesn't say, Hashem isn't real. He doesn't say, forget Torah. In fact, he uses Torah when he stated proudly, we are all holy, to stage his revolt. He's woke before woke was a thing. Midrash Tanchuma in Korach 2 tells a wild allegory where Korach mocks Moshe with absurd legal questions. Does a tallit made entirely of techelet, blue, need tzitzit? Does a house full of Torah scrolls need a mezuzah? He's not dumb, he's manipulative. He weaponizes Torah language to undermine Torah authority. What is our takeaway? Not every Torah argument is holy. The intent behind Torah talk matters. Are you seeking truth or power? Second, Moshe versus Korach isn't just a nice title. Our sages of blessed memory see Moshe as a humble and reluctant leader. He didn't seek power, he tried to avoid it. Korach? Not so much. He wants the high priest gig, or at least a bigger spotlight for himself. Pirkei Avot 5:17 lays it out. Every dispute that is for the sake of heaven will endure, but one not for the sake of heaven will not endure. What is a dispute for the sake of heaven? A perfect example of this comes much later in Jewish history in the famous disputes between the Rebbes Hillel and Shammai. And what is not for the sake of heaven? The dispute of Korach and his congregation. Even Korach's followers weren't unified. Midrash says Korach told each group what they wanted to hear to gain their support for the rebellion. What can we take away from this? Disagreements are fine, perhaps even holy at times, but we can never measure truth by a fine argument even when they're sincere. Korach's wasn't. Our third theme, is holiness equal opportunity or hierarchical? Korach says everyone is holy. Sounds democratic, right? But Torah's idea of holiness is not generic. It's sacred function, not sacred status. The Kohanim aren't better, they're designated. The rest of us aren't second-class citizens, and we have our own role to play in the divine plan, but it must be the divine plan and not the schemes of a jealous, power-grabbing upstart. The Mishkan was about separation and sacred spaces, not elitism, but order. Imagine if everyone tried to walk into the Holy of Holies. Oh, wait, Korach kinda did, and got a lava trap. Our takeaway from this must be holiness is about calling, not clout. Everyone matters, but not everyone has the same job. A lesson hard learned by Korach and his motley band of disruptors. I think we call them paid agitators today. The aftermath of this little uprising among then is revealed in Aaron's rod blossom. It's not just a magic trick. The blossoming staff represents life, renewal, and quiet authority. Aaron's leadership is confirmed not through violence or rhetoric, but through fruit. Leadership isn't noise, it's what you produce. Real leadership bears fruit. False leadership devours people. Kabbalistically, Korach represents the unchecked ego, the klipa, or husk, if you will, that tries to seize the light instead of humbly channeling it. He grasps at spiritual power without proper vessels. The Zohar says Korach knew deep secrets, but wasn't properly refined. He wanted to raise the sparks prematurely. That's why the punishment is so dramatic, because it's spiritual short-circuiting, and this road of redemption and freedom is not a field trip, it's a lifelong journey. Spiritual knowledge without humility is a recipe for collapse, or sinkholes. My final thought on this parsha leaves us with an important question that must be answered. Is Korach all bad? Some midrashim say Korach's children repented and were saved. Psalms are even attributed to the sons of Korach. What does that teach us? Even in rebellion, there's the potential for return. Teshuvah is never off the table. Hashem is closer to us than our heartbeat and very breath we take. Every generation seems to have its share of Korachs. Loud, persuasive, charismatic figures who challenge tradition not to elevate, but to dominate. And sometimes they even quote Torah while doing it. But leadership rooted in self, not service, always collapses eventually. Our job is to know the difference. And it's the stories like these we find in Torah that help us see clearly that difference so we don't fall into those same fallible streams of self-pride thought and action. Thank you so much for watching this video on Rumble and YouTube and/or reading the essay on Substack and Blogger. Links to all are listed below. Please like, subscribe, and share with others. Until next time, this is Shmuel ben Shlomi wishing you a Shabbat Shalom.